Welcome to episode 174 of the Thunder Underground podcast. This week, we're back from Rocklahoma, and we're going to talk about it.
Yes, buckle up.
Yeah, because this could take a while.
It could.
We'll say that, and it'll probably be over in 40 minutes. Right?
But
no. Usually when we do these, they're like an hour and a half
or some shit. But you know what? You're just going to go along for the ride, and you're going to like it no matter what.
That's good to know.
Yes.
You already told them they're going to like it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know what's up.
2015 was the first Rocklahoma that we did a podcast for.
Yes.
But we've been to all 12 of these Rocklahomas that they've had in prior. And we've done reviews now. This will be the fourth one that we've done a review on.
Okay.
And as we mentioned last week, this is actually our third anniversary. Last week.
That's right.
We're now going into the fourth year of doing this as well. And Rocklahoma is always a joy to go to, whether we're doing this podcast or the 8 years before we were.
Yes, definitely.
Before we get into all that, though, we need to mention that this episode and every episode is sponsored by Vitz Screen Printing and DEB Concerts. Vitz Screen Printing, screen printer based out of Oklahoma City. They do tons of bands, t-shirts and merchandise. They do hoodies, hats, all that great stuff. They actually do our t-shirts as well.
Yes, they do.
Which they got us some new ones here a couple weeks ago. We had a lot of them out there at Rocklahoma. Some people got a hold of them, and you can also get a hold of them on our website right now.
Yes.
DeepThunderUnderground.com. Just click on the merch tab, buy yourself one, and get it, and you'll see how awesome it is, and you'll be like, shit, I need to call Vitz Screen Printing right now and buy me some more t-shirts with my logo on it.
Exactly.
Whether it's a band or whether you've got a company or whether you just want a t-shirt that says I'm fucking rad and you want 20 of them. That's who you need to call.
I know. Give them your money.
Yeah. Yeah, get on Facebook and follow them, VITS Screen Printing. Great people. Proud to have them a part of this with us. And then, of course, DEB Concerts. Just announced a couple new things here in the past week or two. Coming up, July 13th, they announced that Dokken is coming back to the Ideal Ballroom.
That's right.
And then they also announced that LA Guns is coming back. And that's not until December.
Wow.
So they got this one pretty far out.
Yeah. They're not messing around.
Yeah, but D&B Concerts, local promoter here in town that in Tulsa that brings in a lot of these 80s and early 90s kind of rock, glam rock, you know, melodic rock.
Yes.
Heavier stuff like Dokken, whatever you want to call it. But they brought in tons of great stuff in the past few years like Tom Kiefer and Firehouse and Warrant, and like I mentioned, LA Guns has been here. They're coming back.
All those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, coming up, like I said, Dokken, they've got Rocket Science and Doxy with them. Both these bands great. Glad to see Doxy back on one of these bills.
That's right.
That's July 13th. About a little under 2 weeks later, Steelheart is playing at Safari Joe's H2O Water Park. That's the old Big Splash for those of you from the area that aren't familiar with that yet. But get out there. They've got a stage, and this is actually like an event at night where, you know, the water park closes, I think, at early evening.
Gotcha.
And then it's like a special event where you can go out there and hang out at the water park at night, watch Steelheart, get some drinks, and hear some amazing fucking rock and roll.
Nice. Can I jump in the wave pool, too?
I believe you can.
Nice. Okay. All right.
Yeah. They can say love ain't easy, and you can say I know, and you can like do a body splash into the wave pool.
If I did that, there'd be no more water left.
Whatever.
So maybe I won't do that.
All right.
Maybe I'll just spare everybody that pain.
No, you got to do it now that we talk about it.
Nice. Great.
Well, a couple nights after that, July 28th, Bisto Blanco playing for free.
Yes.
They're bringing this in as a thank you for all the people that have gone to all these other great shows they've had. And Bisto Blanco's got Down for Five and Driver opening up for them.
Awesome.
And then later in August, we've got Faster Pussycat coming back to Tulsa at the IDL with Don Jameson along with them. And then Dead Metal Society is opening that one.
Fuck yeah.
And then that LA Guns show I mentioned is December 8th. And they haven't announced openers yet, but we've got a while to figure that out.
Yeah, definitely.
And I don't know if you noticed this. I was going to spring this on you.
Okay.
That they said this on one of their posts, so it's out there, so I'm going to say it right here. But they said that in the works, they're working on bringing back Tom Kiefer. they're working on bringing Sebastian Bach.
Really?
And they're working on bringing Kicks.
Wow. Kicks would be awesome.
Yeah, Kicks at the IDO, that's just like the ultimate goal of my life at this moment.
That would be bad fucking ass right there, dude. I would love that.
Yeah, one of the best live bands that most people don't even...
Exactly.
Don't even pay attention to, and they should, you know?
Yep. Steve Whiteman is the fucking man.
That's true. But yes, thanks to DEB Concerts. Get on Facebook and follow Streets Gone Wild for all the updates from them. And once again, thanks to Vit Screen Printing as well. Ready to get into this here, Rocklahoma?
Let's do it.
So just like off the top of your head, you know, how would you rate this? Is it as good as every other one you've been to or close to it? I mean, it's just, I don't think it was bad. So
well, it's just, you know, it depends on who you like, really.
Yeah.
I mean, this was probably somebody's best fucking Rocklahoma ever.
Yeah.
For me, the headliners weren't really, you know, I wasn't jazzed too much. I love Poison, but I've seen them a million times.
Right.
Godsmack, Perfect Circle, we all know what I think, or, you know, whatever. But I mean, to someone, it's awesome.
Yeah.
But I mean, on a whole, you know, just as it always is, vibe and, you know, all the other bands and everything going on and camping and partying. I mean, it was great. It was, you know, what we've come to know and love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that reminds me of something I wanted to say, because, like, say someone's listening to this that hasn't really followed us, and they're like, oh, Rocklahoma review. You know, a lot of times when you see something in a review, it's like someone goes out there with the intention of seeing every band, you know, bringing you a report and all this shit.
Yes.
But, you know, this isn't, you know, fucking Rolling Stone or whatever you want to call it. Well, yeah, but I mean, it's not some publication where we're like doing this. We're doing this because we want to do it.
Yes.
We do this podcast because we like doing it. We go to Rocklahoma and we see what we want. So there's a ton of bands you're not going to hear us talk about because we didn't go see them because we didn't care.
Exactly. And that's fine.
Yeah, that's
because
basically...
there might be some bands that you, as a listener, don't dig that you didn't go see, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's just the way it works at these festivals. And since we're not bound by anything, we just do it like we would do it if we were at the festival and not doing this podcast.
Exactly. I mean, Godsmack is a perfect example. Do they suck? No.
Right.
But do I like them? Not really.
Right.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to go see them.
Seen them before, and they put on a good live show, but I don't...
They do put on a great live show, but...
I don't care about their music, so I didn't go see it again, you know? And it's like, same deal with Perfect Circle, you know? And I heard a lot of people say the show... The imagery and everything was awesome. They sounded good, but it's not my thing, so I didn't go.
Yeah.
And I heard a lot of people say that even people that loved them say it kind of bored them when they left. But
so, yeah, who knows?
There's my review of Perfect Circle that I didn't see.
Who knows?
Right. But like you mentioned, the whole experience as a whole is what brings most people back to Rocklahoma.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people, I guess, don't realize that most of these other festivals that are in the same, you know, the same category, like the AG stuff, the Danny Wimmer stuff.
Yeah.
Carolina Rebellion, Rock on the Range, Welcome to Rockville, all that stuff. If they do have camping, it's not, I mean, I think Carolina Rebellion does now, but it's nothing like the Rocklahoma experience from people that have done it and people that have worked it. You know, even like a lot of these have... Louder in Life has camping, but there's more restrictions. You see people talking about that. But Rocklahoma, it's just kind of just like a big party in a field with tens of thousands of people camping.
Yes.
And then also going to see a rock show. So it's like you can go to this festival and see 80 bands, but only like 2 of them and still have a fucking great time.
Exactly.
And that's what I think keeps bringing people back, even if there's a better lineup across the country or closer to them. This experience is what people love. So we got out there. I got out there Tuesday night. You got out there Thursday morning, right?
Yes. I got out there Thursday around 11 noon, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it's a long haul, but even though it at times gets kind of draining towards the end, it still seems to go by pretty fast.
Yes, it always does. You're back into your daily grind before you know it.
Yeah.
You know.
But I don't know, just some of the things to point out before we get into the music. Like, we'll say you got there. We went over to Camp Corruption, where Alan and Janelle always crank out tons of fried fish for everybody.
That's right, yeah.
Which is amazing. You know, I've been to that the last 3 years now, I guess. And they, you know, so a huge thank you to them for always doing that.
Definitely.
And, you know, that's another thing about Rocklahoma. You get to know all these people. You could go out there poor and destitute and make it through this thing because people will just give you food and drinks all weekend long.
Yeah,
you know?
people definitely have your back out there, that's for sure.
Yeah. But like, and of course, we've got to give a huge shout out to, speaking of that, to Camp Rocklahoma.
Oh, yes.
Which is the Carols and the Boyces.
That's right. Good friends of ours.
Yeah, they became good friends because of this festival, basically, a few years ago. And same thing, you know. We hang out with them outside the festival.
Yes, we do.
You know, so we're always like sharing drinks and all that stuff anyway, but they hooked us up with food and random stuff throughout the weekend, even whenever we, you know, didn't necessarily need it. That's what kind of great people these are.
That's what you do.
Yeah. But you've got like Camp Mardi Gras is another camp that's became like a staple out there now.
Yes.
Christy Gross and Adam Richmond pull this thing off. They've always had that huge party. And this year, actually, that's where Philip Bruce got married.
That's right.
You know, I drove by on my cart over there and saw that for a minute. And so congrats to him and his bride. And who else we got to mention? Camp Jaeger, this is the first year that they did not have a stage.
Yeah.
But I talked to Fred and Stacy there for a little bit. I think it was Tuesday night or Wednesday night. And they seemed pretty happy to not have the stage.
I bet. I don't blame them.
Yeah. But so, you know, from a personal standpoint, there was a void there. But I mean, even though we'll talk about it a little bit, Maryland's Midnight Mayhem kind of filled, but still just what you have grown to know over the last, I guess they did that 10 or 11 years. You got used to Camp Jaeger being right there. Yep. You could see it from our campsite.
Exactly.
You know? But, you know, congrats to them for that long run and for now being able to enjoy this thing again, I guess.
Yeah, they deserve it, that's for sure.
Yeah. And I did want to point out, I made it by there a couple times, one time at night, but Camp Fuckery, which is the 3 Lunatics guys.
Yes, okay.
Zach and Brett. I wanted to point this out that one time, I worked this year.
Yes.
I drove a golf cart around, giving people rides and, you know, guests in the front, guests in the backstage, all that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
And one time I gave this lady a ride, and we drove by Camp Fuckery, and she said, I went by there last night. She's like, I thought I'd seen it all until I went to Camp Fuckery. And that was basically her quote. Yeah. And I thought I needed to share that with them.
Nice.
Because that's a good endorsement.
They're probably proud of that.
Yeah, it's a good endorsement for what this place is about, right?
What went on.
But yeah, and of course, Bill Ray and his crew, Daryl Stewart, all those guys are always extremely welcoming.
That's right.
I'm not going to sit here and list everybody because I'll forget a bunch of people. But, and of course, Alan from Ages of Rock podcast made a trip down here again. He's been a few times now. I knew him well before that, but it's cool that he's gotten down here now. So look up Ages of Rock, follow them on YouTube or iTunes, wherever you listen to podcasts. And I know he got interviews with Tim from Clutch and a couple of the guys from Hellstorm and
that's awesome.
A few other bands. But yeah, definitely look that up. So that stuff should be up here in the next few weeks.
Definitely.
But yeah, so anything else before we get into this music part of this thing?
I don't think so. I think we should just do it.
All right. Well, the first day of actual music from the festival was Thursday. And that's the pre-party in the Axis campground stage. And of course now we've got Maryland's Midnight Mayhem stage and Camp Darkside.
Yes.
All these kind of kick off late afternoon, early evening.
Yeah.
Stuff's going on all night. So if I'm sure some people camp out at once, see everything. Some people bounce around, try to see everything. That's what we've always tried to do.
Yeah.
So it gets kind of hard, but we got over to Darkside once it kicked off so we could see Solidify.
Yes.
Which was one of the main goals of mine on this, because you've seen them 2 or 3 times now,
yes,
right?
They're great.
I've yet to see them. So, this was a highlight for me. I'll say it.
Well, what'd you think of them?
Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like you told me, I mean, they're solid as hell. They're heavy, but they're not overly heavy.
Yeah.
They've got that great, that great vocal in the range where it's not, growly or whatever.
Yes.
Where a lot of people like, it's more accessible and everything. And they're just great dudes too. Hung out with Steven a few times and, met a couple other guys as well.
Definitely.
But yeah, just really glad to be able to finally see them.
Yeah, they've done a good job of, they're heavy and, they're not fucking around, but they also have an accessible sound without sounding like, some douchey radio band. And that they've tapped into that, I think is pretty special.
Yeah.
That's a kind of a rare line they're riding, and that's pretty cool that they can pull that off.
Yeah. And you can see them in Tulsa in October.
That's right.
At the Thunder Underground Fest.
Definitely. I'll be there.
Yeah. Put on by Scarstruck Entertainment.
That's right.
At the Venue Shrine in Tulsa.
I can't wait.
Some of these other bands are going to be there as well.
Yes.
Like Switchback. They took the stage right after Solidify.
Yes.
Switchback is always badass. Just a great band that kind of mixes old school metal with a new school sound as well. Mm-hmm. And, Curtis is just such a badass front man. And, over on the Maryland's Midnight Mayhem stage, unfortunately, Maryland, I don't know if she was solely putting this together.
Yeah.
But, she ended up in the hospital and she missed Rocklahoma. And a lot of the preparation leading up to this, someone had to take it over, and Curtis stepped in and took this thing over. And from what I gather, he kind of handled everything there at the last minute.
Wow. So
kind of pulled this thing together, and I know he was over there. I saw pictures and stuff. I didn't see the stage until it was done, like Wednesday night or something. Mm-hmm. But you saw the stage. He basically built the majority of that thing himself.
Yeah.
He had a couple people helping him at times, but I mean, they didn't bring in a trailer like a lot of people do. He built an actual stage, and I mean, It looked good. It was well done. I mean, this guy's been in the music business since we were kids.
Yeah, pretty much.
Late 80s, I think. So He knows what he's doing. But yeah, so huge props to him for pulling that thing together. And, hopefully this is something now with the void of Camp Yeager being gone in the VIP area. Hopefully this stage builds up.
They can do something, yeah, for sure.
And then, like we just mentioned, Darkside. We've mentioned this many times, but you got to give huge props to Chris Taylor.
Yeah.
For building this into what it's become as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because it started as just a small stage, and then it got a little bit bigger the next year, and now here we are. You hear people, everybody knows what it is.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't something like, oh, what's that? It's way over there. It's like everybody, it doesn't matter where you're at in Rocklahoma, now they know what Darkside is, and that's what you hoped would happen, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah, big, huge props to Chris and his entire crew. But, yeah, so later into that evening, I know I worked for a while, so I missed some stuff, but then we got to do this interview with
CJ, yes.
Yeah, with CJ Pierce. So, here in the next couple weeks, you should be hearing CJ Pierce come back to the Thunder Underground podcast.
That's right.
For the second time. Yeah, it was fun to sit down with him and talk for a little bit about all kinds of stuff. And then, actually caught the end of Western Horn and the Hush right before that, I think. But
yeah.
Do you remember that? Starting to get hazy.
Starting to get
hazy. Later
there.
Into the night. But then I went back to camp, and then I made sure to get back down there to see As Above, So Below.
Yeah.
And I caught the second half of their set. And I mean, it was cool. He talks a lot about it in that interview we did, but they've got a good hard rock sound.
Yeah.
And they really had a command of the crowd was really into it. And I know, at a thing like that, a lot of these people might not have seen him before.
Yeah.
People might not even known that the guy from Drowning Pool was in the band.
Exactly.
So that's a good thing, because I think this crowd, you could tell, was really into what they were doing. They were really commanding the place. And so that's a good sign,
Definitely.
Hopefully this turns into something for them. But so what are we going into Friday now, right?
I think so, yeah.
As far as talking about bands we can talk about.
Yep.
But so, and here's another thing I want to point out that I hadn't mentioned yet, is that all these other reviews we've done, it's kind of like we can kind of bounce off each other on what we saw, but on this thing, there's a good chunk of these bands that either you saw or I saw.
Yeah.
And there's a few that we crossed and we both saw, but a good chunk of them that we're about to talk about,
split up,
it's all you or it's all me.
Yeah,
but
pretty much.
I think Sunday it's like completely halfway you and then halfway me.
Yes, it definitely is Sunday. That's for goddamn sure.
Because I worked on the days and I was usually off by at 6 at the latest. So I missed all the early bands, which unfortunately for me, the main things that I was bummed about was Seven Dust, Andrew WK, and Trivium, and Powerman 5000, but I actually got to hear a lot of their set. We'll get to that later, but before we get into the festival part there, Dirty Soul Revival was Friday.
They were great.
At the Access stage.
I mean, holy shit. Talk about some fucking just straight up, blues rock, southern, just bearded fucking goddamn, just good American rock and roll.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys were awesome. The last 3 songs, the singer / guitar player, who's from Tulsa, by the way, he played with his fingers, no pick, and he was just wailing. I mean, it was just, that was, and that's kind of, it's a lot of what I've been listening to lately anyway. So that was just so good. They were great.
Yeah. And that album we talked about a while back, but Brand New World.
Yeah.
Their album is fantastic.
Badass. Yeah.
I mean, that's literally, if you're into any kind, like you said, bluesy, southern, kind of just straight up rock and roll, these guys, you got to hear this album.
Yeah, for sure.
But I didn't really put the rest of this in order. That doesn't really matter. You caught Down for 5, right?
Yes, I did.
I caught them later on their next performance, but...
Yeah, I hadn't seen them in many years, so it was good to see them. They sounded great. They were all in good spirits, having fun. And they did a new song, which is fucking awesome. Forgive me, the title of the new song escapes me. But yeah, it was so good to see those guys again playing.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and I caught them. I guess I could just talk about this now.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about it, but I caught them. They were one of the final bands to play when they took the stage Sunday night after Poison on the retrospect stage, D&B processing stage, sorry. And I didn't catch the first one because I was still working, but I know that I think they got a 30, 40-minute set. And then that one on Sunday night, they got like over an hour.
Oh, wow.
Because they were the last band in there.
Yeah.
There were some bands in the campgrounds and stuff, but yeah, kind of like you said, you can tell they're having a great time. It's just, this is just one of those bands I'm so excited that they're back.
Exactly.
You didn't know for a while, because Scott and Jane are real successful with what they're doing with Rocket Science and everything. So it's cool to see this back. And like Scott mentioned, they're going to record a couple songs coming up. So
yeah, that's going to be great.
Really excited to see that. And I mean, the band sounded awesome. Psych always sounds awesome. Jane is she did a solo on that night. She did the national anthem. Sorry, why did I draw a blank on what it was called? She did the national anthem. They had the flag out there, but like, as she did it, she added a lot to it. And then at the end, she just went on this solo that was just, I can't even describe it, but it was just fucking insane. Everybody the crowd over there was just eating that shit up because it was badass. But yeah, so check out Down for 5 and
definitely
listen to our previous episode, the Rocklahoma
preview episode
included Scott from Down for 5 and It's got a ton more than just talking about Rocklahoma.
Yeah.
So look that bad boy up. But so, First Strike is also back.
Yes.
Rick Adams brought this back, and Mike DiPetrillo is back with him. I think this is the first time in 3 years, maybe I heard him say at some point. But yeah, just another band that it's cool to see back. Just the classic 80s, rock, kind of heavier rock sound, like in the more classic metal sense. And, they sounded great as well. And just really, because I'd seen them before, but in quite a while. I think the last time I saw them was when they opened for UFO at the Vanguard, like several years ago.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And I know I'd seen them way back, but yeah, just really excited to see these guys back as well. And DiPetrillo's pulling double duty with that and Driver. But then I don't know, who'd you see first? Was it Andrew WK?
Trivium was first. And they were great, They were, Matt Heafy was really getting the crowd into it. They ended with In Waves, and, that was always cool because I love that fucking song. Their new songs are good. I mean, it was a short set, but I mean, they brought it, that's for sure.
Did they play anything new?
Oh yeah,
probably like one or two.
The
Heart from the Hate.
Heart from the Hate. They played that.
Yeah.
What's the fucking other new one that was a?
Beyond Oblivion wasn't a single.
I don't know why I'm drawing a blank, but they played it. Yeah. Man, and then they played. Fuck, what did they play? I can't even remember. It was just a blur.
Yeah.
Trying to go back and remember all these after you saw so much stuff.
Yeah.
All weekend.
But yeah, they're one of those bands that never disappoint.
No, yeah. I mean, they were awesome. And then after that, it was Andrew WK. And that was grand and, majestic like you would know that it would be.
Right.
Pizza guitar and everything.
Hell yeah.
So, I mean, I hate that you missed it. You would have loved it.
Yeah.
So it was super cool.
I'm glad I got to see him a couple times in the past couple of years.
So. Yeah. I mean, but, his wife wasn't there.
Yeah, that's what Tracy told me.
Jumping around and stuff like she was at Riot Fest.
Which sucks because she's pretty majestic herself.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, get on Andrew WK's Instagram and, You'll look for the girl on stage and then follow, I can't remember her name, follow her account.
You'll see what we mean.
It's amazing.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm glad he was finally at Rocklahoma. It seemed like long overdue because this is the type of guy that would fit all these festivals.
And people loved it and people were going crazy. So, Well,
that's cool.
Yeah. So.
Well, then let's see. I Prevail, or was that later? I don't know if that was before
I
7
think
Dust
that was. I can't remember, but we'll talk about it. They were good. I never even really heard them before, but I watched them, and they were good. The two singers, one growly singer, one clean singer.
Yeah.
So they had some pretty heavy riffs going on. So yeah, I mean, it was just one of those bands that the kids can get into.
Right. So 7 Dust is next. We're going to do this twofold here.
Yes.
You're going to mention what you saw when you saw them, and then we're going to talk about the brand new album, All I See Is War.
Yes. They played Dirty from the new album. They played Thank You from the last one.
Oh, wow. They played Thank You?
Yes. They played, I think they only had like 6 songs.
That fucking sucks.
Yes, it does. And that's, I mean, we love 7 Dust, so we're not going to talk, what we're going to say when we review a show. Of course it was badass. I mean, they brought it and they did better than most bands that went on after them.
Yeah.
I don't know why in the goddamn fuck they got to put this band on at 4:30 in the fucking afternoon. I mean, these guys have been on for 20 years. They've got a great following. I mean, come on. I don't know. I don't get it. But, I mean, it didn't stop them. They put on a hell of a show anyways. I gotta think they gotta think that too. They have to.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, they're one of those bands where it's like the balancing thing of like, do you put them on as a headliner of a side stage?
Yeah.
And then just have a fucking madhouse over there?
Yeah.
Or do you and show them respect of like, oh, we're headlining this stage?
Yes.
Or do you put them on the main stage to say you got respect because you're on the main stage, but now you're going on, before
4:30,
before some dude that's dancing around like Scott Weiland?
Yes. Oh, man.
Like, well, you can go on before the tribute guy.
We know what you're going to say about STP.
But, well, all I see is War came out a couple weeks ago. I think the week before Rocklahoma. It's Seven Dust. Kind of like you said, we love them. These guys have never put out anything that's not above average.
Yes.
They're one of those bands that even if I didn't like absolutely love the album, I still like it.
Yeah.
And it's like there's like that line or something where the wave goes up and down above it, where maybe it goes a little down, but it always goes right back up on the next one. And I love the last album, and this one, at first listen, I didn't like it as much, but after a couple listens, it really started to grow on me. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of different elements going on with this one, I think.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of times with Seven Dust albums, they all kind of have that same feel to it, but this one, you kind of hear different things,
Yeah.
And I don't know if you caught that or if that's just me, but...
Yeah, I mean, I haven't... It did seem like they were kind of doing something, they're kind of going in and out of some stuff. I agree. I think the first two songs are like the strongest, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I need to listen again, or I'm getting some song titles mixed up, but, but I mean, it's Seven Dust, so it's not going to suck. And this world is always better when there's a new Seven Dust album out.
Right.
So.
But yeah, Dirty, that first song and the first single, that's just classic Seven Dust.
Yes.
It sounds as good as anything they've ever done.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And it easily fits in with that entire catalog, and I'd imagine it's probably going to be a live staple from here out. But like you mentioned, the second one, God Bites His Tongue, which is just a great title.
Yeah, it is.
Regardless of how good of a song it is.
Which is, if there is a God, he's definitely biting his tongue right now.
Right.
Because there's some fucked up shit going on.
But yeah, I mean, that's a great song. The third song, Medicated, has a really cool chorus that, kind of harkens back to, I think, like some Season stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But even more so, like, my favorite song besides Dirty is the song Moments, which is like later in the album, because it totally feels like Seasons, which to me is a highly underrated album.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite. And that song, it's like when it starts, it's probably the most surprising song on the album to me. Not, some people might hear, not original and think that's the most surprising song because it sounds a little different, a little more laid back than your standard Seven Dust. But Moments is just way more melodic and upbeat, and just the way it flows, and the chorus like changes towards the end of it. And it just totally reminded me of Seasons. So that just stuck with me.
Yeah. Yeah. Unforgiven. They did a pretty good version of that.
Yeah. Pretty good. Yeah. I wish they would have done Unforgiven 3.
Just kidding.
Don't you think they should have done 3?
Well, yeah, they could do anything.
And the final song, The Truth.
Yeah.
Kind of bookends this thing where it's just like Dirty, where it has that classic Seven Dust feel.
Yeah.
So if you like Seven Dust, you will like this album.
That's right.
If you don't like Seven Dust, once again, you're an asshole. Because Seven Dust has arrived.
Yes. Yes, they have. So.
All right.
STP.
STP's up next.
Go for it, man. Go for it.
Man, I don't know. I mean, they sounded fucking great. The band sounded great.
They did.
I mean, he sounded good. And it's just like this thin line of like, I don't know. He sounded good. I don't keep saying they sound good over and over. Like I just can't get past the whole, I've got my shirt off and I'm wiggling around like Scott Weiland thing. I'm like, just fucking do your thing. Yeah. That's why Alice in Chains is so fucking great. Because William Duvall is not trying to be out, Lane Staley, and it doesn't bother me that he sounds like him. That's cool. That's what they want to do. I mean, it works for Journey. Other bands have pulled that off.
Yes.
But I don't know. And the stuff, it was funny. The stuff they played, was all cool. And then when they played the new stuff, Meadow and Roll Me Under were the two new ones they played.
Yes.
Like Roll Me Under was one of the best songs they played.
Yes.
Even though I like some of these other songs better.
That's right.
It just, I don't know, sometimes that is that way when you have a new singer the newer song comes off better because
Yeah.
that's what you know him as. You know?
Exactly, yeah.
But, you know, when they played stuff like Dead and Bloated, or they played Down, which I thought was awesome, you know, which songs I loved, it was great. There's no denying that. It sounded good, but it's just like this thin line. I can't decide which side I'm on with, you know?
Yeah, I get that. I think that, and I kind of agree. He's kind of doing the whole, man. I'm like you. I don't know which, because I don't want to talk shit.
Yeah.
Because they sounded fucking awesome. And they were great. But I'm kind of like you. It's like, dude, do your own, you don't have to act like, I don't know.
Yeah, you can sound like him all you want, but you don't
Yeah.
have to, like, get on stage and act like him, too.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know, man.
Because, like you
maybe
mentioned before, these guys, like you said, these guys deserve to be out there.
they definitely do.
Eric Kretz and the DeLeos, because
They certainly do.
you know, they shouldn't have to suffer because the other singer, you know,
Yeah.
fucked everything up, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. And so it's a real, I don't know what maybe that's, you know, STP was a huge influence on this guy. And maybe that's what happens in him when the music starts, you know.
That's true.
Maybe that's the only way he can do it, you know. You feel that. So maybe therein lies the explanation, and maybe I'm the asshole for, I don't know. I don't, yeah, so I don't know.
Well, that's a good point, because he doesn't seem fake and ungenuine.
Yes, I agree.
So, you know, maybe you're right.
That's what it is. It just, he can't help it. That's what the music pulls out of you, because, you know, but I'm going to give the whole band a pass. They need to be out there. They sound great. They sound really fucking good. So, hey, more power to them. That new record's pretty decent, so fuck it. You know?
I mean, I saw him several times with Scott Weiland.
Yes.
And it was always good. I mean, I never saw him pull off a bad performance, so this just kind of continues that.
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
And like you said, they deserve to be doing that, and I've seen a lot of festivals, you know, they're the second or third band down, and that's what they should be doing, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, good for them.
Yeah, I agree.
Because they've got a catalog of music that not only do people love, that just, I mean, they're one of those bands that you go out there and they play 10 songs and you know all 10 of them.
Yes.
You know, unless you haven't heard the new album, then you know 8 of them, you know? Which is impressive. Well, who we got next? The Cult?
The Cult. And this right here is one of the shining moments of the whole goddamn festival to me.
Yeah, without a doubt.
They were great. They were amazing.
Yeah, I can't, you know, say enough how much I love this band my whole life. And I've seen them multiple times. I think I told you that last time I counted. I think it was 12 times before this one, or maybe this was the 12th one. But regardless, it just seems to get cooler every time.
I know.
You know, you're talking about some of the most underrated fucking tandem ever, you know, with Ian Astbury and Billy Duffy.
And they make it look so easy, you know?
Yeah.
It's
you know, Billy Duffy's just kind of like he's strolling around, just like he's barely moving his arms, but he's like got this wall of fucking rock.
No shit.
He's the fucking
and Ian Astbury, you know, it's 95 degrees out there and he's in a fucking leather jacket.
Because he's Ian Astbury.
But cool as shit. I mean, it was, they played all the songs you wanted them to play. It was anytime I've ever seen this band, they're fucking amazing.
They didn't play all the songs I wanted them to play.
Well, true. Yeah, we probably could have. Well, I would have. Yeah, I could have made.
You wanted a Little Devil.
I want a Little Devil. I wanted some Sun King. I wanted some Wild Hearted Sun.
Yeah, but I don't think they ever play Wild Hearted Sun.
No, I know.
I wish.
I'll never get that in my fucking life. So
might get lucky. They might do the 25th anniversary tour ceremony.
Probably
no, that's
not.
already passed.
Yeah,
it'd be the 30th anniversary.
Yeah, probably not though. But hey, you know.
Let's campaign for that.
Yeah, but a girl can dream.
Right. But they played Rise, which I'm glad that last time I saw them, the last couple times I think they played that as well. They brought that back, and you know, that's kind of an album that a lot of people probably missed because it came out 2000, 2001.
Yeah,
Beyond Good and Evil, and it's just a fantastic album. So I'm glad they still represent that a little bit. But yeah, just John Tempesta. This band is just, even though everybody knows who they are, it's like, I think maybe something like this, or if they're on other festivals, you know, it's not like the cult's going to get bigger than they were or anything, but maybe this will bring them back into people's minds and just realize that, you know, this band's more than the 2 songs that a lot of, you know, the average fan remembers, you know?
That's right.
So, well, as far as Friday goes, I believe that was it inside, and then I came back in to see Midnight Devils.
Okay.
I think at that point you might have passed out, and then you had a rally. I remember that.
No, that was Saturday I had the rally.
Oh, really?
I think. Jesus Christ.
Maybe both. No, I don't know. But Midnight Devils, you can't say enough about how energetic and just awesome this band is. I just hope, you know, I'm glad that, you know, they keep bringing them back. You know, that, well, this is technically the first year Midnight Devils have played.
Yeah.
3D in Your Face played the last 2 years.
Yes.
So this is the 3rd year in a row. And, you know, the 3 guys that are now in Midnight Devils are also the 3 guys in 3D in Your Face.
Yes.
But the 3D in Your Face has a different singer in this 3-piece.
Mm-hmm.
Where Sam Morris, the bass player, does all the vocals. And I was kind of curious what they were going to do. But they played several 3D in Your Face songs.
Gotcha.
And, you know, we both love 3D in Your Face. I love the way the songs sound. I love the singer's voice. But when Sam sings these, it just adds more attitude and punch to them.
Yeah.
Kind of like we talked about with, like, you know, their song Memphis Mile.
Yes.
Anytime he took over the mic, there's just way more attitude going on because it crosses that 80s melodic glam rock feel with that punk attitude that he has, you know?
Yeah.
And so just adding that to their original songs, and then they played a couple, I think, of their own songs. They've got an EP that's coming out. And then Sam McCaslin from Retrospect Records got up on stage with them and sang 2 songs.
Nice.
And, you know, I knew he could sing. I've seen videos. I've never seen him live, but, you know, he's got several bands, you know, that he's a part of in the Vegas area. And I've watched some of his stuff before. But that dude, I mean, they sang Autograph, Turn Up the Radio, and he was fucking well, you know,
really?
Just like, it was insanely awesome, you know. And then
nice.
I think he sang, I think it was You Give Love a Bad Name, maybe was the second song they did. It wasn't something that needed high vocals, but I could be wrong. But regardless, Turn Up the Radio was amazing. The other one was good. So yeah, it was really cool to see. And talked to both Sam and Chris a few times that I saw them throughout the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
So that's just another band, people, you need to check out. Midnight Devils. Look them up, follow them. They're from Omaha, Nebraska. So if you're in that area, they're touring throughout the Midwest a lot.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so Saturday. I believe the first thing you saw was Stanley's Revenge, right?
Yes, saw Stanley's Revenge from Pryor.
Right.
So it was good to see them. They did a fucking great set. Those guys, they got riffs for days. They brought it. Good to see an area band, you know, doing that. I think it's like every time I see them, they get better live. I mean, not that they sucked before, but it's just, you know, it's like, I don't know. It's like they're gaining more, you know, they're just gaining. I mean, they're really,
they're just probably getting tighter because they haven't been together a long time.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just, their singer's badass, you know, he's just got like a voice of a demon. It's great. I mean, they're just great all around. And, I got to give it up to the drunk barefoot mosher guy.
The drunk barefoot mosher guy.
I mean, he had to be drunk or on something. He was moshing in the gravel with his barefoot.
That's hardcore.
And he was like, you know, he was getting all into it and he knew all the words and he was like conducting, you know, like he was a heavy metal conductor, you know, of the band, you know, like a orchestra conductor would do. And he was like grabbing all the dust and rubbing it in his eyes, and he was like going hard. He was trying to mosh with people and getting up in people's faces and singing and shit. This guy was a warrior. Whoever you are out there, you are a fucking warrior. And I hope your feet are okay.
Yeah.
So, yes, that was quite a start to Saturday.
Hell yeah. I did manage to drive my cart over there and pull up by the tent, and I heard one song before I had to bolt again. But so I at least got to hear him for a minute.
There you go. There you go.
But glad you saw him.
Yes.
Well, going into the festival grounds, I guess Powerman 5000 was the first band you saw.
Saw them. They were good. I mean, we kind of hung back. There's a lot of people up there to see them.
That's good.
There was people were really looking forward to that, I guess.
That's cool. I was kind of wondering, because that's...
Oh, yeah. They had
That's a band I've continued to follow throughout their career, but I know a lot of people kind of lost probably after the first couple albums, and so it's cool to see, even if they're only over there for the nostalgia reason of a couple songs, but...
Oh, no, yeah, they had quite a crowd, so that was good.
Yeah, I was back behind the stage, like finishing up my shift, and I heard probably half their set, and it sounded, it was clear, it wasn't muddled, so I got to hear at least what was going on.
Yeah.
And it was, from what I could tell, it was a cool set, I didn't hear organized.
No, you're probably not going to hear that.
I didn't hear neck bone.
Neck bone to backbone, neck bone to back. I wish.
Yeah, for all you people who, know When Worlds Collide, you need to go back before that.
Get the first record.
Yeah. Get the very first record, Mega Kung Fu Radio.
Yes. It is fucking badass.
Yeah, like when that came out, you're like, this band's doing something different.
Oh, yeah, I thought this is the one, and then...
then they changed the second album, went a little more...
Yeah, they went more streamlined, yeah. They got away from the funky type kind of stuff.
But they've managed throughout their career to, they're one of those bands kind of like the Cult used to do, or whoever, where every album shifted the sound a little bit.
Yes.
And this new album that they came out with, was that early this year or late last year? I think it was early this year, but it's a good album as well.
Yeah.
So check into them if you only know the radio stuff, Well, Diamond Head.
Diamond Head.
Give me Diamond Head till I'm dead.
That's right. I mean...
To quote the mighty Pepper Keenan.
That's right. What'd you think?
That was... I don't know what I was expecting. I don't know if, that's one of the bands I was looking forward to the most.
Yes.
So it was just, overhyped in my head. But it was pretty awesome,
it was
to be
cool,
able to see them.
Yeah, it was good.
And,
yeah.
I think they played, was it 6 songs or 7? 6. And, of course, 4 of them were the 4 that Metallica had covered.
Of course, you have to do that.
Yeah.
And people fucking went nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they were good. I mean, I think it was, they were right before Ghost, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I did was I left early, right in the middle of Am I Evil, because that's what they closed with, right?
Yeah.
Did they close? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I went and got my seat for Ghost. I mean, I don't know why, but I just did. And I just wanted to make sure I was right there. And this guy sitting in the row ahead of me, he said, man, that sounds pretty good over there. Who's doing that Metallica song?
I knew that's how
this
people
is a goddamn, I know this is a cliche fucking story, but this actually happened.
Yeah.
And I said, that's Diamond Head. That's who did it originally. He goes, no, it's not. And I said, okay, look, there's this band called Diamond Head that came out probably 5 years before Metallica did. And they were a big influence on Metallica. Metallica covered a lot of their songs, and that's where, they kind of got their notoriety. And so that's who it is, and that's whose song this is. You can Google it, I swear to God. And he was like, no kidding. And I go, yeah, I mean, and so it took me a minute, but he believed me. So I hope he Googled it and, it was affirmed to him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's
there's probably 3/4 of the crowd that was thinking the same thing.
Oh, yeah, there were. So what do you do?
Someone even said, I don't know if someone said that, or I'm trying to remember where I was at, if it was at the end of it, someone was like, that the majority of this crowd is probably lost on, what
the fuck is going on
right what
now?
They could be seeing right now, or what historical significance when it comes to rock or metal.
Exactly. Yeah, they weren't getting it, but, as music geeks, we can only help so many people at one time.
That's right.
We're doing what we can, Trent.
Yeah. Well, did we skip Clutch? Might have been before that, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, Clutch was earlier.
Clutch was great.
But yeah, I mean...
It was fucking hot as shit.
Yeah, that might have been the hottest point for me.
Yes.
Watching a band.
Yeah.
I went up on the the platform above the stage.
Yeah.
And like they were playing at whatever time it was when the sun was shining, at that angle right onto the stage.
Oh man.
And I was just like dripping fucking sweat. And I thought I was going to die, but I stood there and watched the whole thing because it's fucking clutch.
Yeah, it is. And that's what you do.
Yeah, there were another band like we mentioned with Seven Dust or whoever or the Cult where every time you see them, you're going to get something great.
Yeah.
And Clutch is a band, it's always cool to see because you never know what set list you're going to get.
You never know what set list you're going to get. Neil Fallon's a great front man. There's just meat and potatoes. There's no frills. They don't fuck around.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, and they played I know they played at least one new song.
Yes.
Maybe two. I think.
Yeah.
And I did like when he mentioned the lighting guy here really sucks. Because he kept like looking down, like putting his hand up. He didn't have on sunglasses, but I was like, that's a clever joke that probably went over half these people's heads
definitely.
right now.
That's awesome.
But Clutch has a new album coming out. I think it's not until like September.
Yeah.
But they've already got one song out. You can hear.
And it's good stuff. Yeah. For sure.
Okay, and then Ghost.
Yes, here we go. This is another. We're gonna camp out on this for a minute.
Right.
Talk about their new album while we're here. But I mean, this is the highlight of the whole festival. I think they're the best band there.
You think they're number one?
For me, yeah, they're number one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's in my top 3 or 4 of the festival for sure.
Yeah.
And they're a band that every time you see them, it just gets a little bit better.
Yeah.
Even though it changes every time because they're another band that slightly shift the sound a little bit every time.
That's right.
But this new music's even more geared towards like an 80s sound, but when they played the older stuff, it still had the same feel that it used to have.
Yeah.
So they're not shifting everything, obviously.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. But, it was a bigger show. That there's more band members now. They got a third guitar player. They got a backup singer, keyboard player, all that kind of stuff, or a couple of keyboard players. I don't know.
Well, one of the backup singers would play keyboard sometimes.
Yes, yeah, something like that. So, I mean, and it's just, it was such a show. It was more than just a band coming up and doing a set. I mean, there was something going on here, and it was really cool to watch. It was grand, lots of stuff to look at. So, and their songs are just so fucking good. I mean, they're in, I don't know. I don't know what more I can say to where I'm just sound like a blubbering fucking fanboy,
Well, something I was kind of glad about or surprised about was, that ever since they've been around or started gaining notoriety, they've been one of those 50-50 bands where people either say, I fucking love them or I hate this band.
Yeah.
And so I expected at Rocklahoma it was going to be that way when you talk to someone. But the majority of everybody I talked to, like maybe 2 people, say that they didn't care for it. Mm-hmm. They might not, I don't know if they might not even watched it. Yeah. But everybody else was just going on about how great it was. So maybe that's a sign that it's starting to shift to where they're getting away from that polarizing level.
I think it's definitely a sign. I think that, here's one of your next headliners.
Oh, yeah.
Of, festivals and arenas and whatever.
Yeah, I was thinking that then too, because it's like they're already the second band down. Yeah. And just in the past couple years, that incline started getting steeper and they've gotten up there quickly, I think Squarehammer probably had a lot to do with that, the radio success. And this new album has already had Rats and Dance Macabre that are starting to pick up. So I think, give it 2 or 3 years, they're going to be, like you said, headlining festivals, I think. Yeah.
And I really can't tell you, I can't speak enough on how great it is that with this new record, yes, there's a couple of instrumental tracks. Maybe there's
like 7 instrumental tracks.
No shit. I mean, and it's a short record, and sometimes you feel like maybe there's not enough, and that can be argued. I don't completely disagree with that, but I really have to give it up to Tobias Forge. He's really bringing some different styles.
Yeah.
Some things that I think, need to be out. Like, Miasma, you know, the saxophone and the proggy shit, you know, and then Dance Macabre. It's like total 80s. I mean, it's total fucking, I don't know. It's just, they're bringing some stuff. And there's some points in the record where it's almost like kind of power metal in a way.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, the folk metal. And it's just, and the fact that this is being brought to people on a mainstream scale, and they're liking it, and they don't really know what they're listening to, you know, but they're really getting exposed to some styles that they need to get exposed to.
Yeah.
You know, not just, you know, let's smash our head into the cement and listen to a million Five Finger Death Punch songs and,
right.
you know, fucking OD on Red Bull, you know, constantly. I mean, there's some, you know, he's bringing some real diversity to audiences that really need it right now.
Yeah.
So, you know, if that's what's happening, and, you know, if there's a couple instrumentals, so be it, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I did notice there's nothing like there's nothing like super, I don't know if I want to say, maybe grand is like, you know, a He Is or a Monstrance Clock, you know.
Right.
But that's fine. I mean, because there's still catchy stuff going on. There's still evil stuff going on. So, I mean, I think it's a pretty good record.
Yeah. Well, yeah, first listen, I was thinking the same thing. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on here, and there's a lot of instrumentals, and I was kind of like bummed when I first listened to it. But then the second listen, it all kind of clicked, and I'm like, what you said, it's like, it's crazy that someone can be successful, you know, and sell records based off, you know, a couple songs. Yeah. And then there's at least, 3 instrumentals on here?
Yeah.
One of them's the intro, I guess.
Yeah,
but like,
so 2,
you
really.
know, and just overall, 2 or 3 of the songs are pretty laid back as well.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, it's like the sounds got that, you know, with Rats has the 80s rock sound. Dance Macabre has the 80s pop sound.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just amazing that in this day and age that's successful to me.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of glad about it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, same here. I mean, I think Pro Memoria is, to me, that's one of my favorites because I love that chorus.
Yeah.
You know, and it's pretty dark. And I think, you know, that's something that you need on a Ghost record.
Yeah.
Faith is great.
Yeah, Faith is probably my favorite one right now.
Yeah.
Like, it opens, it sounds like Avatar.
Yeah. Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
But, and when we saw them at Rocklahoma, they opened with, I think, Ashes, and then
right into Rats.
I think they opened with Ashes, right?
Yeah.
And then it went into Rats,
yeah.
So they opened with the first 2 tracks on this.
Yep.
And then they also played, besides Dance Macabre, didn't they played one of the instrumentals, but I can't remember what it was.
Oh, I don't know.
But, yeah. And then, of course, when we saw them, they played Ritual.
Yes.
And Year Zero. And
I mean, all the stuff you want to hear, you know.
I'm sure you're glad they played He Is.
Oh, man, I loved it. That was so good. Dude, okay, look. I was pretty...
Oh, there's a ghost right there.
See, I was pretty lit. So I was singing along, and I was really getting into it. I was kind of that guy.
Yeah.
Just kind of, though, not fully. Don't worry. But I mean, they're highlight of the whole fucking weekend for me. They're impeccable.
Yeah. Yeah, they sounded phenomenal.
Yes, they did.
Well, after that, later that night, I saw Dead Metal Society.
Yeah.
Seen them many times. Like we talked about, 9 was on the previous episode. So go back, check that out. Yeah, they never disappoint. You know what you're getting. You know, they're a tribute act to the 80s, and it's not, you know, they cover everything from the glam stuff to the Metallica and Iron Maiden type stuff. And I remember at one point they were playing something, I can't remember what it was, and it ended. And I'm not bullshitting you. You can ask Tracy, or I'm trying to remember who else was over there. Oh, you were there.
That's what I'm saying. I said they kicked ass.
You were saying right next. I thought you were saying it somewhere else, but no.
Holy fuck.
Anyway, remember I yelled "smooth up in you," just like
yes, and they
as a joke, and then like
they did it.
2 seconds later, he screamed "smooth up in you," and like 3 people in front of us turned around, like, "What the? Who's this fucking guru? How does he fucking know that shit?"
Yeah.
So then after every song had drank enough that I started screaming song titles, but never got another one right.
You were drank enough?
Yeah.
Drunk enough?
Both.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was too, so I guess I shouldn't talk shit.
Yeah. But yeah, Death Metal Society, they're a band that if you ever get a chance to see them.
Oh, you got to.
They play in the Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas area a lot, so Get out there, check them out. And then they played November Rain, even though Nine said on our podcast they wouldn't.
Yes.
So calling him out for that lie that he had. Anyway, was that everything for later that night? I mean, I know I saw other stuff. I just can't freaking remember what. Yep. But on Maryland's Midnight Mayhem stage, I saw Trip 6 for 2 or 3 songs. Okay. And that's Paul London's new band.
I saw something. Goddamn, I can't remember what it was.
It was probably that, because I think you were hanging out with us.
Yeah, it was.
But, I mean, it was cool to see Paul London back. You know, he used to have London's Dungeon. And Trip 6, you know, is kind of same thing. Has that great, you know, hard rock sound. Not too heavy. A lot of, you know, melody going on. It sounded cool. You know, when I saw him, I think it was a couple covers. But, you know, just glad to see him back out there and doing that. So check out Trip 6 if you get a chance. All right, so moving into Sunday.
Yes.
You saw some bands on the Axis stage, right?
Yes, I did. First off, I went at 1:40 because that's when it said Oddfellows was to play. And they were already done when I got there. I got there like at 1:41, and Jenny Wood was already on stage.
Maybe they played a 30-second set.
I don't know. I don't know what happened, but something got mixed up there.
That sucks.
Yes. I mean, Jenny Wood was great. Don't get me wrong, but I really wanted to see Oddfellas. But yeah, a little different for the Rocklahoma crowd, you know, a little bit more maybe laid back or, you know, alternative. But I mean, it was great. So, you know, nothing wrong with that.
Right.
She got a great voice. She got a cool look. So it worked, you know. And then the Grizzly Band, they came on stage and they're from Houston and, real rootsy, you know, kind of Americana kind of stuff like I like, you know.
Yeah.
They would totally fit on a bill with like Social Distortion or Lucero or something like that, you know. It was, you know, the singer, guitar player, bass player, drummer, and then a guy playing pedal steel. So it was pretty cool. And, you know, so, and we hung around for a couple of those songs. And then I think 10 Years was up.
Yeah, it's a,
because you were working still, so.
Yeah. So that's another, like you mentioned, that's another band that's not typical for Rocklahoma, but I noticed that Axis have done that the last couple of years where
on Sundays, yes, yeah.
It's a little more laid back, you know.
Or
either that kind of stuff or bluesy or whatever.
Exactly.
Which Oddfellows would have worked good for that. I don't know if you said, they played, so they were there.
Yeah, maybe they were there because I recognized the singer guy and
maybe someone
their merch was set up and they were all taking pictures of people. So I don't know what.
Maybe someone had to cancel, so they took their spot or something. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So who knows? But, you know, 10 Years is great. They're a lot better than I thought they would be. I don't really know much about them and it's not classically my thing.
Right.
But I really enjoyed them. They did a really cool cover of Heart Shaped Box by Nirvana where it was kind of like you didn't know what they were doing until I was like, hey, I recognize that one line. And then you figured out what they were doing.
Oh, okay.
So they kind of made it their own and they had some pretty good energy on stage. So, I mean, I really enjoyed it.
I saw them open for Alice in Chains a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even have minded if they'd played longer than what they did.
Really?
So, yeah, and this is again one of those things, what the fuck do I know? I'm a dumbass because everybody around me was singing the songs and loving it. So, I mean, they're doing something right. So,
right.
You know, there you go.
Yeah.
And then Candlebox. I hated this is how geeky we are. I hated that you missed it.
Right.
I was thinking that the whole goddamn time. Cause they sounded pretty good, man, and you would have enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but, you know, You, Cover Me, Far Behind, they did all that shit. And I mean, I don't know.
They play Simple Lessons.
I
Best Friend.
I don't. They played one of those. They played one of those kind of deeper cut songs.
The second album stuff.
Yeah, second or third, and I cannot remember which one it was. By then, I was starting to fade.
All right.
But I don't know. You probably would know better. I don't know what Kevin Martin's got going on band wise now. I don't know who's in or out or whatever the fuck. But they all sounded great. You know, I think
honestly, I know
whoever's there, they're killing it. So
they did a couple shows with all the original members, but that's not the actual lineup right now.
Yeah.
But like the 25th anniversary, or no. Yeah, 25th anniversary of the first album, they did a show in Seattle and a show in like Arizona.
Yeah.
And that was just in the past couple months.
Yeah.
But I think it's like him and one other guy, if I'm right.
I gotcha.
But he sounded great, right? Kevin Martin.
Oh, fuck yeah. He sounded
Every
amazing.
time I see him, he still sounds fucking
yeah, I mean,
perfect.
He sounds like it's like 1995 all over again.
Yeah.
He sounded great. And, but yeah, aren't like the drummer and the bass player, aren't they like fucking lawyers and math teachers and shit now or some shit? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, so I can't really blame him, whatever.
Yeah.
But no, Candlebox is great. And then that's where you take over.
I thought you saw Non-Point.
Oh, fuck, I did see Non-Point. Damn it. I'm slipping on my old age.
But real quick, for me, just like I said with Paramount 5000, I heard a lot of Non-Point.
Yes.
From behind the stage. And, we talked about them before because Elias Soriano was on his podcast.
Yes.
And they're another one of those bands that I think a lot of people that like metal just kind of brush off.
Mm-hmm.
But they're really strong live.
Yes.
And they're a really great fucking live band.
Now, see, that's what I'd never seen them before, or if I did, I can't remember. It's been so long. But what you just said is totally true. I think, and I'm guilty of it maybe sometimes myself. You might think, oh, that's new metal or whatever the fuck stupid shit that, fucking meatheads like us think. But you see it and, I'm like, fuck, these guys are fucking badass. I mean, they were killing it. It's like 300 degrees outside and they're jumping around and they all got long sleeves and pants on and dreadlocks that probably weigh a ton. It doesn't fucking matter. They're killing it. And,
I heard several people say they were just like the crowd was going nuts.
Oh yeah. I mean, again, we were a little farther back because we were just like, Sunday was getting just, but I mean, yeah, there's an insane crowd, a big crowd for Non-Point. So that was awesome. That was great to see.
Yeah. Cool that I think this is only the second time they've been at Rocklahoma.
Yeah. I'm glad I finally got to see him after all these years.
Yeah.
That last record they did was awesome.
Yeah.
That when we interviewed them and they were on the tour for that was a really good record.
Yeah. So they should be on that cycle to where they should have a new one this year. I bet.
Yeah, I would imagine.
But so Lynch Mob hit the side stage probably after them, next band around, and I should have looked up the singer's name, but this is probably one of the early shows he's done because Robert Mason did some of those shows after only Logan left. But the new singer, I don't know if he's permanent or filling what, but he sounded great. He sounded a lot like Oni Logan, but higher. Yeah. Like his voice or his register was higher. So it kind of gave it more of a, I don't know what to say. It sounded enough like Lynch Mob that where you wouldn't notice if you weren't like a huge follower, like, we were or something. But of course the band sounded awesome. Sean McNabb wasn't there. He wasn't? And this just reminded me as I'm talking this out. I forgot to look this up, but I'm a little ways from the stage and I'm like, well, Sean McNabb's not there. And all of a sudden I'm like, holy shit, that's Michael Devin from Whitesnake. And the more I kept looking at it, I'm like, I've got to look this up because I think it's him. And then later on that night, I ran into Melanie and Jules, and Melanie was like, was that Michael Devin from Whitesnake? So I'm not the only one that was thinking it, if it's the case. So was it? I still haven't looked it up. I just thought of this as I said it.
Who's playing drums for him?
Fuck, I forget. I can't even remember at the show. Who we saw him last time? It was that, what's his name?
Jimmy D'Angelo.
Yeah, D'Angelo.
That used to be in Bullet Boys.
That's right. So I don't
think he's there anymore.
Oh, he's not?
I don't think.
Oh, okay. So it's like an entirely different band now.
It could be. Fuck, I don't know.
But that's the way Lynch Mob has been throughout history.
Yeah.
And it can be, since the focus is on George Lynch, and then the songs, they obviously just stuck to the first album. And then, they're always going to play something Dokken, which I thought was really cool that they, at a festival like this, where you want to kind of reel in some people that might not know you. Mm-hmm. And the Dokken songs they played were Heaven Comes Down and Mr. Scary.
Nice.
I'm like, that's badass, because it's almost just like, well, fuck you if you don't know who we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because your average rock fan probably doesn't know those Dokken songs,
Yes.
if they're like under 35,
Exactly.
And those are like way better choices than some of the other stuff they could have picked. So I was really glad to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Mr. Scary is unbelievable. And so they sound great. So if moving forward, if this is their singer, it's going to continue to be good.
Right on.
And of course, Tom Kiefer, one of the highlights throughout the weekend for me.
Yeah.
Never disappoints. He's, even like I said this on the preview thing, even though everybody knows Cinderella.
Yeah.
He's still criminally underrated, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're definitely right.
In fact, earlier that day, I was giving a lady a ride. It was like a lady and her son. And she's like looking at her thing, and as we're driving, she asked me if I knew who Tom Kiefer was.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she's like, I know everybody on the bill except him. And I'm like, well, he was a singer for Cinderella. And it just blew her mind.
Yeah.
She's like, holy shit. She was so excited now. And I'm like, how do people not know this?
Yeah. I know.
But I guess that's just the way the world is, right?
That's the way it goes.
Yeah. But yeah, he played, obviously, all Cinderella songs, and then he played Solid Ground from his solo album.
Nice.
He sounded awesome. He has his wife and the other backup singer, and then, did all the, in the short set he did all the classic stuff he could, and then like halfway through the set, he played Nobody's Fool, and Lizzie Hell from Hellstorm came out.
Hell yeah.
And sang it with him.
That's awesome.
Which is, what I kind of expected to happen, since she was going on basically an hour after him.
Yeah.
And she did that version with him on the re-release of his solo album.
Yes.
So yeah, she came out and did that, and that was awesome. But yeah, Tom Kiefer, he's just fucking badass live.
Nice.
I hope the DEB concerts bring him back to the Ideal Ballroom again.
Yeah, I'd like to go to that.
We'll definitely be there again. And then Hellstorm, I caught just a couple songs of. And they're a band that I've always liked, but I just kind of lost touch with. And like when you see them live, though, it kind of reels you back in, because she's just so fucking. She's just one of those people that like. It's happened slower than I thought it would, but I think 10 years from now, they're gonna be. They might not be the level of like a Foo Fighters or an Avenged Sevenfold, but they're gonna be up there where they're like at least the second band down on these festivals.
Yeah, they need to be.
This band can be in for the long haul because she's a fucking powerhouse singer. She's obviously got the look as well, and the crowd just fucking goes apeshit for this band.
Yeah,
and her brother is just a showman as well.
That guy's an insane drummer.
And yeah, so more power to him. I need to like reel myself back in and check him out more.
Yeah,
but because I was really into those first couple albums and then just kind of lost touch. But
did you ever, like I told you to do, go look up the YouTube videos of them when they were kids?
I forgot about
playing
that.
At like street festivals and carnivals.
I forgot about
you
that.
You have to fucking do it. It's insane. It's hilarious. It's classic.
You said it's her and RJ and like their dad?
Their dad, yeah. You've got to see this shit. You'll thank me for it.
Yeah. Well, after them, Cheap Trick, and this is my number one of the whole festival.
Really? I figured it would be.
And I kind of, that's what I talked about going in. It was my most excited to see, and they lived up to it, because this is only, the third or fourth time I've seen them.
Yeah.
And they're just an unbelievable live band. They just command the audience, and even though, half that festival audience might only know like 5 singles,
Yeah.
The other 5 songs they played, people are just into it and going nuts, even if it's like a deeper cut or something. And they, of course, played all the hits, and towards the end, they played, actually, it was the last song they played, Surrender, and they brought out Hellstorm, Pop Evil, and I think a couple of guys from Lynch Mob, maybe.
Was it Tom Kiefer's band?
Yeah, and then Tom Kiefer as well.
Yeah.
And they all sang.
Oh, that's cool.
Sang Surrender with him, and even I think Tom Kiefer took one of the verses, and maybe Lizzie Hell did, and then the rest of them were just doing backups.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Tom Peterson?
Yes.
Yeah, Tom Peterson had like a extended bass solo, which was unbelievable.
Because he plays like 102 string bass.
Yeah. And he had on his big ass hat and his scarf thing, and then he played that, and then he did a song where he sang it, and then, just.
Yeah. They're the
quintessential fucking rock and roll band.
Yeah, I mean, they're one of the best.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame now.
Yeah, they should have been there 10 years prior.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yep. Well, Poison closed it out. And like you said, you've seen them a million times. You know what you're going to get. But they just... It doesn't ever get old to me.
No, yeah,
because
it's always fun. It's always fun.
It's crazy that, like, Poison's the type of band that so many people, especially that like metal or something, are going to rip on. Mm-hmm. But they went out there at a festival full of, like, tons of other bands and fucking owned almost every one of them.
Yeah, and they
maybe not
headlined
Cheap Trick, maybe not Ghost or whatever, but they headlined the thing. The place was fucking wall-to-wall packed.
Yeah.
And, like, I went down in the pit, and I couldn't even get further than, like, 10 foot into the pit without, like, pushing through people, you know? And it was just, like, everybody was out there watching them. They put on a show. CC DeVille did a long-ass solo, which I know you would hate, but it wasn't the Swallow This Live solo. It was fucking...
So it's probably good.
It was fucking cool, you know? And then, like, partway through, I go back over to Tracy and Maggie's seats, and, like, Mike Thrasher's over there. We're hanging out. Kevin and Rachel Graham show up. And Kevin Graham's just like going ape shit. And he's like, I can't believe we're fucking watching Poison together. And I'm like the biggest Slayer fan on earth is going nuts
awesome.
for Poison. So that shows you right there.
That's what it's about, man.
That this band is a party band, you know?
That's what it's about.
Yeah. And it was a perfect band to like close out the headline main stage for this thing.
That's awesome.
And that was, pretty much it. I saw Down, we already mentioned Down for Five.
Yeah.
And I talked about that, but that was the only thing I saw after that besides that I remember. I saw the band Soul Crisis on Maryland's Midnight Mayhem stage. And
okay.
They're out of Oklahoma City, and I've seen this name for a long time, but I've never seen them that I know of. And I caught the end of their set, I think about 3 songs. Me and Tracy saw it, and they were really cool. They had it was a real heavy kind of metal sound, but they also had like some industrial electronic elements in there as well.
Yeah.
And, they were throwing down. That was like, that night was fucking hot. Like even most of the nights after the sun went down, it felt good. But that Sunday night after the sun went down, it was so fucking hot. Even I felt that at like 2 a.m. But, these guys were over there throwing it down in the heat on that stage. And so it's cool to see them. So look up Soul Crisis.
Fuck yeah, do it.
And again, a big shout out to Curtis for pulling that thing together. And I hope next year it's even bigger. And so if you're in the GA area and you didn't know that there's a VIP stage because Camp Yeager was gone, next year you know now.
That's right.
To look for it. You got Maryland's Midnight Mayhem stage. And if you're in the same thing in VIP, wander over at least once, you got to get over to Dark Side.
Yes, definitely.
It's a freaking party. They have a big, huge tent. Put on a great show. And, of course, Axis is in between the two. So you got a point to stop and hang out as well.
That's right. You got to love it.
Yeah. So there you go.
We did it.
Another one.
Rocklahoma 2018.
Yeah.
In the books.
12 in a row.
Yeah, 12 in a row.
So is next year 13 going to be lucky or unlucky for you?
It's going to be lucky. I thrive off that unlucky shit.
They'll be lucky because Ugly Kid Joe's going to be there.
I fucking wish.
I've said that at the end of every review episode we've done, I think.
Now, they need to be. I was thinking, because I listened to Menace of Sobriety the other day.
Nice.
And I really wish, I've never, ever seen them ever in my fucking life.
You haven't?
No, and never. They're one band I've never seen.
Well, that's right. I've only seen them the one time.
Yeah.
Back in like 93.
Yeah, so.
It's just.
But they, I don't blame them.
Their former drummer was there headlining Saturday night.
True. They probably couldn't fill a backyard here, but they can go to Europe and fill places, so they go play Europe. Then I get that.
Yeah.
So people don't get it here.
Hey, well, another band that has always been hanging around Europe, I noticed, is starting to jump on more and more of these festivals is Monster Magnet.
I know.
I just saw they announced Louder Than Life, and they're on that one. And like last year, they were on 2 or 3 of them as well. Yep. So maybe we'll get lucky one day, and they'll be on that side stage at fucking 3:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah, no shit. So yeah, we did it. There you go.
Yeah.
There's what it is.
Yeah, get on the bottom of this Facebook page or wherever you're listening to this at and comment, who were your favorite bands you saw. Because I'm sure you saw Godsmack, thought they're awesome, or I'm sure you saw, I don't know, you saw some bands on the campground stages that we didn't. Yep. Let us know who was awesome.
That's right. Let us know who you liked.
Yeah. And so we've talked about, like we said, Elias, the singer of Dawn Point, John Connolly, the guitarist of Seven Dust.
Midnight Devils.
Yeah, Midnight Devils. Down for Five.
Down for Five.
I'm trying to name off bands we've had on this podcast before that were there this year. There's been a lot of bands
First
in the
Strike,
past.
Mike DiPietrillo's been on there 1,000,000 times.
1,000,000 times. That's right.
Fucking, yeah. I'm trying to think.
The campground stages had like Fist of Rage and Grind and some of these bands we've had on.
I mean, just go back through.
Previous Rocklahomas, like the early days when it was all glam. Guys from those that have been on our podcast. We've had on guys from Warrant. We've had on guys from Firehouse, Trickster, Bullet Boys, Lillian Axe, Taiketo. We didn't mention that Chris McCarville is the bassist for Dokken.
Yes.
His band played out there, but
Max Explosion.
I sold out and I had to see Lynch Mob. Sorry,
and all the chaos, yeah.
And then, that's after you had went out. But
we got sick and we're like, fuck this.
Yeah. But yeah, so check out Max Explosion. Really cool band. And yeah, just like solely go through it all. Kiss. Europe.
Yeah.
Death Angel. Corrosion of Conformity. Saxon. Black Star Riders. Bruce Kulick from Kiss and Grand Funk Railroad. Look all this stuff up. TheThunderUnderground.com. All of them are on there. We're on YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Music, all that great stuff. SoundCloud.com/Thunder-Underground. And then Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. Get on Patreon.com. Look up Thunder Underground. Throw us a couple bucks.
That's right.
We'll use it to buy some tactical firefighter. What the fuck's that say?
Tactical Combat Firefighter American India Pale Ale.
There you go.
This is new. I'm trying it. Fuck it. I mean, it's got a cool can. It's got a firefighter with a hose in one hand and a machine gun in the other.
So if 4 of you donate...
That's great in our climate right now.
Yeah, if 3 of you donate $3, then we can get another 6-pack of this.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, I mean, I think this was $30 for a 6-pack, so... I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Right.
But, yeah, so we need more of this shit, so... It's kind of like what the guy on Starship Records commercials used to say. Send me your money.
That's right.
Send us your money. Please.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously. If you listen to this in a couple bucks, it goes and helps out all kinds of stuff we're doing. And like we mentioned early on, our sponsors, Vitz Screen Printing and DEB Concerts, both help out a ton. We're hugely grateful to both of them. And yeah.
That's right. If you look, if you become a patron for just $1 a month, just for that, Trent will send you a good morning text every morning. Every morning.
Not for $1. It needs to be $7 for the good morning text.
Okay, $7.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Right on. Does that cover this one?
I think so. I think we're done.
All right. Well, like we mentioned early on, CJ Pierce from Drowning Pool and As Above, So Below will be on here coming up. And we've also got this one we've talked about for a while with Sean McCoy of Boba Flex. That should be the next one you hear.
Yes.
And we've got some other stuff in the works. But
as always.
Yeah. I'm going to see John Fogerty. He's going to see Yanni. So until next time, we'll talk about that stuff, right?
Sure. Okay.
All right. Until next time.
Thunder Underground, y'all.